Hey guys, so I just want to talk about the issues I see in Decaying Winter and how it could be better. This video is made because I saw this random YouTuber get hate for stating his opinion for the game, so I'll just cover that a bit, give my opinion on it too. By the way, I'm not gonna explain what Decaying Winter is. I assume if you click on the video you already know it. So this guy called Eclipse, he made a video about Decaying Winter saying how the game is bad and people attacked him over it. I personally agree with most of the stuff he said, like the game is not noob friendly, which is the major part of this video. However, I think the game is not supposed to be noob friendly for one. You're supposed to learn through trial and error, like dying again, like most other hardcore games. And there's no amount of tutorials that could fix this without making the game extremely annoying, just for the sake of it being noob friendly and more people play it. Like, I get it, but I think the game is supposed to be for this niche community of, how should I say this? Gay people. Also, there are challenges in the game already, which introduce you to mechanics like the Drifter challenge, where you gotta kill 15 scavs without getting detected. Well, that introduces you to the detection mechanic. There's also the Apostle challenge, which introduces you to Sicklers. So in my humble opinion, if you wanted to make the game noob friendly, you'd have to change it to a point where people wouldn't like it. Another thing is the outdated animations, which I don't think he covered, but all third-person animations that you can observe are in R6 and they look kinda choppy sometimes. A couple of months ago they were looking for an animator, and I guess they didn't get him. Gameplay-wise, that doesn't really mess with the gameplay, but I do think it's a quality of life feature that should be implemented in future updates, you know? Next is my biggest issue with the game, which he kinda covered, but I don't think he covered it well enough. And that aspect is RNG, the aspect of RNG and combat specifically. Because I think that RNG in combat literally ruins the game sometimes. So basically how it works is whenever you get hit by a certain type of scab, you can have a certain debuff applied to you. Some scabs have it more than others. My biggest issue with this is that low tier scabs that have absolutely nothing on them are sometimes able to end your entire run just because of stuff like this. Specifically where they hit one light attack on you and break your leg, attract another scab, and you can't even run away at this point. My proposition on how you can fix it is this. Just make it so there's some health threshold where if you're not below that amount of HP, you can get fractured with a light attack and such, which I think personally, I don't know about anything about game deving, but I think it should be 60 HP for low tier scabs especially. Meaning that if you're not below 60 HP and such, you can't be getting fractured with a light hit, okay? It would also be interesting like giving higher tier enemies a higher threshold. For example, those higher tier enemies can give you arterial bleeding when you're like 80 HP or such, which I think is a very cool way to balance the seriousness of certain NPCs. As of RNG in items, I think that's mostly fixed. Like in the vanilla game, if you're not trying for some obscure ending, you don't really need that much RNG in my opinion. So yeah, the devs did a pretty good job with balancing RNG. Another thing that grinds my gears is the broken AI this game has. Sometimes enemies that can go faster can get flinged and kinda go all over the place, especially Sledge Queen, and I'm still wondering how they didn't fix any of those things by now. Another thing about the AI is that they can literally see you through walls all the time. Like if you're close to them, they can see you through a wall, they can smell you somehow. The worst thing that can happen to you in this game is that you're minding your own business and suddenly a sledger is giving you back shots out of nowhere. But I'm guessing this is supposed to be something like hearing, they can hear you walking or some stupid stuff like that. But no dude, it's a thick stone wall, they should not be able to hear you walking. But even if anything, just please add footsteps to the heavier enemies like the sledger. I mean, I get it if the dream stand is not getting footsteps, but at least the sledger dude, like the big ass fucking bulky guy that can one tap you sometimes, please give him footsteps, like please. Also another thing that I don't agree on with Eclipse is that Gravedigger is a good game. In my opinion, it's a first poorly made game, second very choppy game, and third a boring game. Like I don't know how you don't fall asleep playing it, honestly. Zim also commented on his video saying, "Wow there senpai, I agree with you, but I still won't change the game." Duh. Like bro, no, he said he'll change the game, but he's not changing anything. Like with the new update, he changed absolutely nothing about the boss, the AI. The only thing that I like that he changed is the graphics. He made it better graphics. Yeah, and also half of this guy's video is just complaining how the game is not noob friendly, how it's too hard to get into and too hard to play. Like, okay dude, at a certain point you gotta realize that you just have a skill issue. I'm not saying this because I want to be mean, but it's just in the rawest form. You gotta get used to the game, you gotta play the game for a bit and get some knowledge for it, then you can start having fun. I know it's not a popular template, it's not something people usually do with their games, but it's just the way Decaying Winter is, and if you don't like Decaying Winter, I don't like saying this, but it's just not for you, I guess. Although on the other hand, you should give it at least like 20 hours of playtime, and then if you don't like it, you don't like it, like Tarkov. Also yeah, the biggest aspect of the game is not noob friendly thing, is the public servers and how they give you just free morale, and it's super hard to get into the game playing in public servers. You basically gotta have a friend walking you through the game, or else you won't have any fun beginning with it. If you wanna imagine what a public server is like if you haven't played in a long time, it's basically slurs, morale, and despair. Basically hell. He also says that the game's infection and hunger systems are useless, which I don't think they are. They're nice for micromanaging and that sort of stuff like an RPG would, but both of these mechanics do really serve a purpose once you look deeper into it. Well yeah, at first glance you might just see micromanaging, but think about it dude. When you're doing the true ending, the evac ending, you can have infinite time if there was no infection. Because there's no timer, you can be there as long as you want. You don't die of hunger or anything like that. So that kind of balances it out. So you gotta have a few pills if you want some more prep time, or else you just gotta do evac without that much prep time at night 11. The hunger system is also some micromanaging thingy. However, I think it's kind of fun, and it's not really that hard to get food and water. It's something you just find along the way, and it kind of limits your capabilities, so you gotta save the snacks for the night, so it makes you weaker in the prep phase of the game. I think that's kind of cool. Also, water gives you like a 50% damage resistance. If you permanently had that, I think it would just be too OP in my opinion. So naturally you just save water, especially water for boss fights, evac, or some harder waves, you know. Another point of his is that the game requires less skill and more knowledge about the game and game sense, and that there's a lot of other games like that require more knowledge and skill. But to add to his point, I think the game should require a bit more skill, as in there are more mechanics in the game like parrying and stuff. I think that would be really fun. But yeah, if he thinks the game requires no skill, he has clearly not tried to show down Sledge Queen. Like, that's the most mechanical skill you ever get out of this game, okay? In conclusion, I think this guy made some really stupid points that he didn't really think about. It's almost like he made the video just because he got angry at the game and just had to vent in a video format. I think it would be very beneficial if the devs actually consider my suggestions, mainly to limit the RNG aspect of the game in the combat scenario, okay? And again, not to sound like a troll or something, or like some hateful guy, but I just think this guy has a skill issue, and that's his main problem with the game. I mean, yeah, the game is not attractive and instantly fun for new players, but the more you play it, the more you grow to like it. Like Tarkov.
тебя за письку и оторву, и твоему отцу я нравлюсь, по-моему.